My name's Adrian Savage and I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story now, kind of different bits over the years. Where I'm going to start is something terrible that happened 42 years and 10 days ago. I was born sensitive. Now obviously I didn't know that when I was born, but what I realised when I started things like my first day at school and things like that, I found the big wide world very scary. I wasn't always good at dealing with things, I didn't know how to react, that kind of thing. I was often the one who felt a little bit different. As I was growing up, I didn't really know how to relate to other people. If I had friends, then it tended to be sometimes people that were older than me. Obviously I had friends at school and stuff like that, but I seemed to be more comfortable in adult company sometimes than company of other kids. Kids could be fairly nasty sometimes and I wasn't good at dealing with that. I was fairly shy with girls, fairly shy with other people, all that kind of thing. College and university did help me though, I could be a bit more of myself, I think that was good. I'd met someone at university and we moved down south together, we got married and we had 2 kids and that was brilliant. Unfortunately the marriage didn't last. It was just too difficult. With hindsight, I think we probably both agree that we should have never got married in the first place, but lots of pressures and things like that. And I know the little voice in my head told me that I'd never find anyone else, which I now know is complete nonsense. Not only was there the upset of going through the divorce, but also there was the difficulty of walking out of the house knowing that I wasn't going to see the kids as much anymore. And that was really difficult. You know, even to this day, the kids are probably the most important thing in my life. And I can't really, even now, describe how difficult that was. Having to, you know, and I'm sure they still feel that I turned my back on them. Even though I did everything I could to stay in touch and I saw them regularly and that kind of thing, and I still do. Probably about 6 months later that I met Insa, who's now my wife. We got married 5 years ago nearly. And that was a great turning point in my life because that taught me that actually it didn't matter what the little voice in my head had told me, then there was someone else out there who did want me and appreciate me for who I was. So after meeting Insa more than 7 years ago now, then life started to get back to some semblance of normality again. I was able to see the kids quite a lot. I mean, by then I lived about an hour's drive from them, so I was seeing them, you know, once in the week and every other weekend and that kind of thing, and that was good. And then Insa and I got married and life was pretty good. Then there was a bit of a bombshell when my ex-wife called me to tell me that she was actually moving from down south back up to Lancashire to be near her family because her dad was ill. And that was a real bombshell because suddenly I was working full-time at the time and I knew that I wouldn't be able to see the kids as much, and that was a really difficult time because I went from seeing them once or twice a week to having to go up every 3rd weekend to see them because I couldn't get that much time off work. It was only about 3.5 hours drive, but going on a Friday night, things like that, the traffic was just horrific, so it ended up being more like a 5-hour journey each way, and it was just killing me. I was just getting tired and wasn't having that much quality time when I did see the kids, and that was a really difficult time. I learnt about some sales and marketing software for small businesses called Infusionsoft, and very quickly learnt how to use that, and very quickly became one of the best known experts in the UK working with Infusionsoft. So then over the next few years, then I built a business all around that, and the business started off very well, got lots of good, well-known clients in the small business area. I was travelling to see the kids, and it was a bit of a killer. It was 5 hours each way on a Wednesday. I'd go and see them after school. Then every other weekend, then they'd stay with me at my parents' house in Staffordshire. So spending lots of time on the road, lots of time on the business, but everything seemed really good. I was built up a small team and doing all the things that I thought you had to do for a business to work. And it was only then later down the line that I realised that things weren't actually as rosy as they could have been with the business. and that became quite difficult. So Intra and I took all 3 kids to Greece, went to Kos, and it should have been a dream holiday. We were there for a week, lovely hotel, all inclusive, all that kind of thing. The kids loved it, they had a great time. Unfortunately, I didn't have a great time. I came as close as I've ever come to having a breakdown, because suddenly it was this realisation that everything was broken, the business wasn't working. I was just killing myself, and I didn't know what to do. And it felt like there was no way out. And I really just, inside here, I just suddenly felt absolutely terrible. I have literally had to reinvent everything. I had to change the business, completely change the structure, change how it works. The people who were in the team, they've actually set their own business up out now. And I still love working with them, but they're slightly more independent now. They're running their own business, and we help each other out. Intra and I are working together. Intra's running the business, and I'm working with some great clients as a consultant and helping them, things like that. And it is finally starting to work itself out. If I have a bad day, sometimes I feel so bad that I can't get out of bed. And I've had people say things like, you need antidepressants, or they said, oh, I can get rid of the negativity, that kind of thing. But actually, I don't want to, because the thing I've come to realise is that if I don't have the bad times, you can't appreciate the good times. And what I have got very good at is accepting that when I do feel bad, it's not going to last forever. It's a temporary thing. And I know with total certainty now that when I do feel bad, I'm going to come out of it the other side feeling much better. And then you can look back on whatever the reason was, and you can think, well, yeah, it wasn't so bad after all, was it? But when you're in the midst of it, then you don't feel that you can do anything about it. And sometimes it's the worst feeling in the world. The thing is, everybody goes through it, and I think people try and pretend that everything's okay all the time, but we all know that it's not. And from my perspective, then I'm quite open about when I have bad times. And I think people misunderstand that sometimes, because they think I'm looking for sympathy, or they think that I need talking out of it or whatever. Most of the time I don't. Certainly, a bit of support is always great, and people reminding me that I am great is good, because when you're feeling bad, you don't appreciate yourself. But then coming out the other side, then it's always, I always feel much better, and I can then truly appreciate myself for who I am and what amazing qualities that I've got, because we're all, around the world, we're all very bad normally at appreciating how good we are. Then it's good, because I feel that at least part of what I'm sharing, and hopefully lots of what I'm sharing, will actually strike a chord with people, and they'll think, well, maybe that wasn't exactly what happened to me, but I felt like that when something else happened. Or maybe understanding that, yeah, I feel bad as well sometimes, and yeah, actually when you do get out of it, everything is okay. If by sharing my story, then I can just reach out to one person and make a difference, then that makes it worth all the while of doing it, I think. That's the most important thing for me.